Good evening. As you can see, it's dark behind me, or good night. This is Miss B's story time. We have been reading some books lately, so I'm going to ask you a question. Does this book remind you of anything else you've already read or seen Miss B read to you? I want you to think about that, and then you can answer it to yourself. Okay. So this book, 10 Little Caterpillars, and it's by Bill Martin, which we've read some of his books, and it was illustrated by Lois Earhart. And I know we've read one of her books. We have it right here. And I guess we haven't read one of Bill Martin's yet. I do have some. Okay. So 10 Little Caterpillars. The first little caterpillar crawled into a bower. So, this over here, you can read some of the tiny writing on the side. This one is a wild rose. And this is the caterpillar here. The second little caterpillar wriggled up a flower. So here, I'll point out the caterpillar, but if you can read some of the flower names, some of the ones we've talked about where they eat, the host flower and the flower they feed on. The third little caterpillar climbed a cabbage head. So I believe that is the cabbage head you could see the caterpillar crawling on. And you have a beetle and a toad and a winter squash. The fourth little caterpillar found a melon bed. Oh, it had ladybugs and honeydew melon. You can see the little orange furry caterpillar right there. The fifth little caterpillar sailed a garden pool. So we've got some leaves there, a maple leaf and a poplar leaf. That's what they look like. And as I'm reading this book, seems to me like it might have some facts in it. So, did you learn any new words or facts as Miss B's reading this book? The sixth little caterpillar was carried off to school. You see a spider on top and a monarch crystals. Oh, and this is a milkweed plant. Can you guys remember about the milkweed plant? Okay. Remember, a milkweed plant is a host plant. That's where the butterflies lay their eggs underneath the leaf. So the caterpillar, after it's hatched and eaten its egg, or the sac that it was in, can start munching on the leaf. The seventh little caterpillar met a hungry wren. So you have a thistle plant, a dragonfly, and a grasshopper. And that bird there is the wren. Now you can ask yourself, what do you think is going to happen to that poor little caterpillar if he doesn't get away? The eighth little caterpillar was frightened by a hen. And again, he was on a winter squash. He must be in a garden, I'm guessing. What do you think? You got a winter squash in a garden and a chicken. Where do you think he could have been? I think maybe a farm. The ninth little caterpillar fell into the sea. So this is a sea bass. I haven't ever seen a sea bass, but I do have caught bass at my parents' property on their lake. We have a few. The 10th little caterpillar scaled on an apple tree. This one you have the apple branch, the apple, and the leaf. And he's eating away at that leaf, munching away. and hung there patiently. Tiger swallowtail chrysalis. All right, so this is, see it right here? See it, his chrysalis. That cardinal is looking at it. I wonder what he thinks about it. Until by and by, the 10th little caterpillar, we see apple blossoms and a bee with some pollination. What season or time of year do you think it's starting to be? With flowers blooming and bees out. Thinking the spring. Became a butterfly. And we have the butterfly bush here. Some flowers that he's going to eat. He or she's going to eat and drink from. And help pollinate on their trip. Then you've got number 1, a mourning cloak caterpillar. Feeds on trees, leaves, nestles in wild rose leaves. It's a butterfly. 2 was the buckeye caterpillar. Feeds on a variety of leaves, including snapdragon leaves. Also a butterfly. Number 3 was a cabbage looper. Must have been the one on the cabbage. Caterpillar. Devours leaves like garden crops. I don't think farmers would really like him in their garden. And that, he turns into a moth, not a butterfly. 4, yellow bear caterpillar. Chomps on tree leaves, leaves of garden crops. Oh my goodness, I don't think a farmer's going to be very happy with that, or anybody who has a garden. He is a tiger moth. Those moths, they're eating up all the garden. 5 was a yellow-necked caterpillar. Feeds on tree leaves. Again, moths. Now from that, if we see 1, 2, 3 moths, and the caterpillars all like eating leaves. What does that say about those sneaky moths? Number 6 was the monarch caterpillar. Eats only milkweed leaves. And he turns into a butterfly. That's the one we've read about a couple of times that has that long migration. 7, the painted lady caterpillar. Feeds on thistle leaves and other plants, such as daisies. It turns into a butterfly. Now, the painted ladies is what our caterpillars are currently that's going to turn into butterflies. 8, woolly bear caterpillar. Eats many low-growing plants, grasses, and weeds. I want to give y'all a minute to think about what is it's going to be, a moth or a butterfly. Isabel tiger moth. They love those leaves. 9 was a common wood nymph caterpillar. Feeds on grasses in the woods, meadows, and fields. And it's a butterfly. Number 10. Tiger swallowtail caterpillar. Eats shrubs and broadleaf trees. And is a butterfly. Beautiful. I can't remember if I showed you guys 1 through 5, so I'll go ahead and show it to you again. You have the 2 butterflies there, and then all 3 of those sneaky moths who like to eat up our garden. Well, I enjoyed reading to you guys, and what was your favorite? This says character, but I'm going to ask, which one was your favorite caterpillar that turned into a butterfly? If you would like to do some little extra, you can maybe draw a picture of the caterpillar and the butterfly it might turn into, and tell me maybe one fact about it. You can look it up or you can remember it. Thank you for listening to Miss B's Story Time. I always enjoy it, and I hope you do. And have a great evening.